All right, so first things first, I'm going to go over a few of the main players, and then we're going to break it down. So starting in 2009, Hunter Biden, Devin Archer, and Chris Hines, who is John Kerry's stepson, start Rosemont Seneca Partners. Now, this is very important to note because if you'll notice in many of these stories, Hunter Biden and Devin Archer are very closely tied to each other and essentially partners in crime. So that's their main company, Rosemont Seneca Partners. And it was started in 2009, again, with Hunter Biden, Devin Archer, and Chris Hines. Now, in 2013, Rosemont forms a partnership with Bohai Industrial, who, according to the Wall Street Journal, is China's oldest private equity firm. Now, this joint venture would be called BHR. So BHR is the main company in play here. And again, this is Rosemont, which consists of Hunter, Devin Archer, and Chris Hines, partnering with Bohai Industrial, China's oldest private equity firm. This is the official announcement letter that was made for this partnership, where it states that this was formed in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone in December of 2013 as its first cross-border investment private equity firm. Now here we have an internal document from BHR themselves showing the exact breakdown of this new joint venture in their own words, with Bohai Capital, Shanghai Ample Harvest, Rosemont Seneca Partners, and the Thornton Group making up this new company. Now, this internal BHR document was found on the hard drive of Bevan Cooney. He's an associate of Hunter Biden and Devin Archer's. Now, back in 2016, Bevan Cooney and Devin Archer, amongst others, were arrested for securities fraud. Cooney went to jail. Devin Archer, who besides being Hunter's partner at BHR, was also John Kerry's campaign advisor in 2004, too, was convicted but had his conviction overturned. This conviction, coincidentally enough, was just reinstated 2 weeks ago. But back to Hunter and Devin's associate, Bevan Cooney, who essentially took the fall for this back in 2016. He just handed Breitbart's Peter Schweitzer access to his computer from prison, along with his passcode, and subsequently access to 26,000 emails, one of which being this internal BHR document. All right, so that's BHR. Next, we have Chinese military contractor AVIC. The Aviation Industrial Corporation of China is a Chinese state-owned aerospace and defense conglomerate. So essentially like our Lockheed Martin, but for China, and state-owned, which is a big deal. All right, so what does all this mean? Well, as you can see celebrated in this email, also off of Bevan Cooney's hard drive, in September of 2015, BHR and AVIC worked together to purchase a Michigan-based Henniges Automotive, a massive United States manufacturing company with the capacity and facilities to produce military-grade machinery, now owned by Communist China's military aerospace defense conglomerate, all aided by the son of the at the time current Vice President Joe Biden. That is a major deal. This is called infiltration over invasion. And at the time of this purchase, the Obama administration was fully aware of what AVIC was, so there's no excuse. Now, for starters, according to Roger Robinson, a former senior director for international economic affairs on President Ronald Reagan's National Security Council, quote, the U.S. government has known for years that AVIC has been helping China's military in aiding U.S. enemies. Right, so AVIC's shady dealings have been well known in Washington dating back to the 80s. They have also been sanctioned by the United States on 5 separate occasions since 1993 for activities ranging from violating the Arms Export Control Act and proliferating missile technology in Pakistan to multiple violations related to trafficking missile and other military technology to Iran. And on top of that, in 2014, they were even added to a government commerce department blacklist, which was 1 year, less than 1 year, in fact, before this deal. Right now, here's straight from the Federal Register on May 1st, 2014. Quote, This rule amends the Export Administration Regulations (EAR) by adding 9 persons to the entity list. The persons who were added to the entity list have been determined by the United States government to be acting contrary to national security or foreign policy interests of the United States. These persons will be listed on the entity list under the destination of China. And if you come down here, listed in plain English, Aviation Industry Corporation of China, AVIC. So this is Hunter Biden making a shell company in order to help China's military weapons manufacturer buy a $600 million United States manufacturing giant. How is that not treason? That's aiding a foreign military, a sometimes hostile foreign military, in commandeering production assets right from your own country. This is highly concerning. This deal is further detailed in this very same internal BHR document which was found on Cooney's laptop. Now, first it states here under the Funding and Sourcing Network that the Bank of China, 1, is BHR's primary stakeholder, interesting, and 2, that they are providing full financial support for this deal. So right there you got the Bank of China, that's a state-owned bank. Owns Hunter Biden's, the primary stakeholder in Hunter Biden's shell company, and they put up all the money for this. So what do they even need Hunter Biden and Devon Archer for, other than a means of infiltration? Now this purchase of Henniges is also detailed here a few pages later. Quote, BHR, jointly with AVIC as a strategic investor, acquired 100% of Target on a debt-free and cash-free basis for $600 million. Directly under that is a map of how they were able to use subsidiaries and offshore banks to carry out this goal. And even further after that is a map of their global network with Hunter Biden smack dab in the center. Here's a letter from Devon Archer, Hunter's main partner in Rosemont and BHR, to our Chinese ambassador to celebrate the purchase. I'm writing to invite you to a cross-border banquet to celebrate our acquisition of Henniges Automotive. We consummated the transaction earlier this month in conjunction with our strategic partner AVIC for $600 million. I have also attached a news article about the transaction. This milestone marks our first U.S.-based acquisition. Our strategic partners, including AVIC and Sinopec, will be in attendance, as will our investors, including the Bank of China and China Development Bank. We hope to discuss the opportunities and challenges of cross-border investments for Chinese companies in today's macro environment. Wow. So how does a national security threat of this magnitude go under the radar, you ask? Well, it doesn't. There's a checks and balances system in this country, and deals such as this have to be sanctioned by the Committee of Foreign Investment in the United States, better known as CFIUS, which, for example, is the committee that had to approve the Uranium One deal while Hillary was head of the State Department, who is arguably the highest representative on that board. In the case of Uranium One, Jose Fernandez was Hillary's representative there. Now, CFIUS, and this is taken straight from Treasury.gov, has only one purpose: to review the potential national security effects of transactions in which a foreign company obtains control of a U.S. company. CFIUS does not consider broader economic or policy concerns when reviewing foreign investments. So, right there in its own words, its only concern, allegedly, is national security, which is good unless you have an administration that is not whom they seem. Because, also taken straight from Treasury.gov, CFIUS is an interagency committee chaired by the Secretary of the Treasury. The members of the committee include the heads of the Departments of State, Defense, Justice, Commerce, Energy, and Homeland Security, as well as others. So essentially, whichever administration is in charge. These are all appointed by the president. So in this case, the Obama administration. And you will note that the first person mentioned is the head of the State Department, which in 2015 was John Kerry. This is important because not only was the sale of Henniges Automotive to the AVIC Hunter Biden Shell Corporation, BHR, approved by CFIUS less than 1 year after AVIC was put on a government watch list. Coincidentally enough, just 1 month before CFIUS approved said deal, Devin Archer hosted a fundraiser for John Kerry's daughter, Vanessa Kerry's NGO Seed Global Health, which I'm sure raked in a boatload of cash for her. August 2015. Please join our cocktail party hosted by Devin and Dr. Krista Archer to benefit Seed Global Health with Dr. Vanessa Kerry. Suggested contribution: chair $10,000, host $5,000, guest $1,000. So, needless to say, a lot of money flowed into Vanessa Kerry's NGO on that night. And just 1 month later, with John Kerry's State Department at the head, CFIUS approves the purchase of a huge American manufacturing company, which gave China's AVIC 51% control and Hunter Biden's BHR 49% control. Infiltration over actual invasion. And the Obama administration had known what AVIC was, and all of Washington had, since the 80s. They had been repeatedly sanctioned since the 90s. They were put on a government blacklist in 2014, and so much more. Here's an article from the Wall Street Journal in 2009 about Chinese computer spies breaking into the Pentagon's $300 billion Joint Strike Force project. There's never been anything like it, this person said, adding that other military and civilian agencies as well as private companies are affected. It's everything that keeps this country going. A Pentagon report issued March 2009 said that the Chinese military had made, quote, steady progress in developing online warfare techniques. Well, just take a guess where this stolen fighter jet technology would wind up. March 13th, 2014, only a year and a half before CFIUS approved Hunter's, BHR, and AVIC's purchase of a manufacturing giant Henniges. Stolen F-35 secrets now showing up in China's stealth fighter. An AVIC subsidiary, the Chengdu Aircraft Industry Group, has used the stolen fighter jet data in building the J-20. So this is who Joe Biden's son teamed up with the financial support of the Bank of China to help take over a $600 million U.S.-based manufacturing giant, essentially for the Chinese military. With the approval of Obama's CFIUS, where the Secretary of State John Kerry had a lead role, exactly 1 month after Hunter's main partner Devin Archer held a top dollar fundraiser for his daughter's NGO. This is literally the Obama administration allowing China to infiltrate the United States of America. Treason from the highest office in the country. Do not put these people back in the White House. They do not represent us, nearly none of them. This is one of the main reasons why there has been a never-ending panic since Trump got into office, and exactly why we need to put him back there so they can finish the job. Thank you, and good